The foundation of true attraction lies not in physical traits, but in the intangible energy a man carries. While society often emphasizes chiseled jawlines or muscular physiques as the keys to attraction, these are merely surface-level attributes. That might spark initial interest, but fail to sustain deeper connection. What truly captivates, what makes a man unforgettable, is the way he moves through the world. His presence is felt before he speaks. When he enters a room, there's a subtle shift in the atmosphere, not because he demands attention, but because he doesn't need to. His confidence is quiet, his demeanor unhurried. He doesn't scan the room nervously for approval or adjust his behavior to fit in. Instead, the environment bends to him. This energy stems from an unshakable sense of self. He isn't defined by external validation because his worth is internal, his posture, eye contact, and the way he speaks measured. Without rushing, communicate that he is grounded in his own reality. Women instinctively recognize this. It's primal. Just as animals sense calm authority in a leader, people naturally gravitate toward those who carry themselves with assurance. A man who doesn't seek permission to exist, who doesn't apologize for taking up space, becomes magnetic without effort. Contrast this with the man who tries too hard. He laughs a little too loudly at jokes, leans in too eagerly, or scrambles to fill silences. His neediness is palpable, and it repels where it should attract. The attractive man, however, is comfortable in stillness. Determined by how much he pleases others, his attention isn't given freely, it's earned, which makes it meaningful when he does engage. Women sense this restraint and are drawn to it because it signals rarity. This energy isn't about arrogance or aloofness. It's the quiet certainty of a man who knows where he stands. He doesn't need to dominate conversations or prove himself because his confidence is self-evident. When he speaks, his words carry weight not because he forces them to, but because he chooses them deliberately. His humor is effortless, his listening genuine. He isn't performing, he's simply being. And in a world where so many men are performing, posturing, exaggerating, or shrinking themselves, his authenticity stands out. Ultimately, attraction is less about what a man looks like and more about how he makes others feel in his presence. A woman might notice a handsome face, but she'll remember the man who left her feeling intrigued, at ease, or subtly challenged by his calm self-assurance. That's the power of energy. It lingers long after the interaction ends, pulling her back without a single word being spoken. The way a man directs his attention speaks volumes about his self-worth. Most men operate from a place of scarcity, chasing validation by scattering their focus, indiscriminately laughing too eagerly at jokes, replying instantly to texts, showering compliments in hopes of approval. But attractive men understand attention is a form of currency, and they spend it with intention. They don't withhold affection out of disinterest, but because they recognize its true value. When attention is given too freely, it becomes expected rather than appreciated. The man who is selective with his time and energy creates something far more compelling: anticipation. Women instinctively detect this restraint. When a man doesn't rush to fill silences, when he lets conversations end naturally rather than stretching them thin, when he responds at his own pace, it signals he isn't governed by desperation. His life is already full. It's a subtle shift in dynamics is powerful because it flips the script. Instead of him seeking her approval, she finds herself wanting to earn his. Every interaction becomes weighted with meaning. A compliment from a man who doesn't hand them out carelessly carries far more impact than empty flattery from someone who praises everyone. This principle extends beyond romantic pursuits. Attractive men apply the same discernment in friendships, careers, and daily interactions. They don't chase people. They attract them by embodying a simple truth: not all attention is worth having. By setting this standard, they teach others how to treat them. A woman surrounded by men vying for her favor will notice the one who doesn't, not because he lacks interest, but because he respects his own time too much to beg for hers. The magic lies in balance. Selective attention isn't about playing games or feigning indifference. It's the natural result of a man who prioritizes his own mission. He engages when it aligns with his values, not out of obligation or insecurity. Women sense this congruence. They realize his attention isn't something they're entitled to, but something they're privileged to receive. And that realization, more than any grand gesture, ignites genuine attraction, because what's rare is inherently desirable. When a man's focus is a gift rather than a given, women stop asking, "Does he like me?" Start wondering, "How do I become someone he chooses to notice?" That's the power of being truly selective. A man's true character is revealed not in moments of ease, but under pressure. Most people can maintain composure when life goes smoothly. It's when chaos strikes that the difference between reaction and response becomes clear. The attractive man doesn't crumble when faced with challenges. He meets them with steady focus. Whether it's a professional setback, an emotional provocation, or unexpected turbulence in a relationship, his calm becomes his superpower. Women instinctively watch for this quality, not just because it's rare, because it signals something primal. This is someone who can be relied upon when storms come. What makes this composure so magnetic is its authenticity. It's not forced stoicism or suppressed emotion. It's the result of practiced self-mastery. When others panic, he assesses. When tensions rise, he breathes. When tested, he doesn't take the bait. This creates a fascinating paradox. The less he reacts to provocation, the more power he holds. Women notice this restraint and interpret it as strength. In arguments, it's not the loudest voice that wins respect, but the one that remains measured. In crises, it's not the most dramatic response that comforts, but the one that demonstrates control. This unshakable nature extends beyond romantic contexts. It's visible in how he handles a rude coworker without matching their energy, how he processes bad news without spiraling, how he maintains boundaries without aggression. Women recognize these moments as proof of something deeper: a man who won't be emotionally hijacked. Where others might lash out in anger or fold under pressure, he remains centered. That stability becomes addictive to be around because it offers something fundamental: safety. The irony is that this strength often shows up most powerfully in what he doesn't do. He doesn't rush to defend himself against every slight. He doesn't explain away misunderstandings that don't matter. He doesn't beg for fairness from situations that weren't designed to give it. His peace isn't dependent on perfect circumstances because he's rooted in something more solid: self-trust. And when a woman encounters this quality, she doesn't just admire it, she starts to lean into it, to test its limits, and ultimately, to rely on it. That's when attraction transforms from fleeting interest to deep respect. Because in a world of men who break under pressure, the one who stands unshaken becomes unforgettable. True leadership isn't about control. It's about creating an environment where others willingly follow. The attractive man understands this distinction instinctively. He doesn't bark orders or demand compliance, inspires action through quiet confidence. Women are drawn to this natural authority because it feels effortless, not forced. When he chooses a restaurant, doesn't agonize over her preferences. He makes a decision with consideration, then adjusts if needed. When conversation lulls, he steers it gracefully without dominating. This balance communicates something vital. He can handle responsibility without making it oppressive. What separates this from domineering behavior is intention. The controlling man leads to feed his ego. The attractive man leads because it's his natural role. Doesn't micromanage or second-guess. He observes, decides, and acts. Women notice this decisiveness in small moments. How he confidently selects wine without apology. How he plans dates with thoughtfulness, rather than endless "what do you want to do?" texts. How he navigates unfamiliar places without visible stress. These subtle demonstrations of competence trigger an ancient attraction, the recognition of someone who can be trusted to manage life's uncertainties. This leadership extends beyond logistics into emotional territory. When tension arises, he doesn't escalate or withdraw. He addresses issues directly while maintaining calm. He sets boundaries without anger and enforces them without apology. Most importantly, he creates space for her to relax into femininity. By removing the burden of constant decision-making, modern women may resist this idea intellectually, but biologically they respond to it viscerally. It's not about suppressing independence. It's about providing the stability that allows her to temporarily relinquish control. The paradox is that the less he needs to prove his leadership, the more naturally others accept it. His authority comes from action, not words. When plans go awry, he adapts. When challenges emerge, he solves them. When direction is needed, he provides it all without fanfare. Women don't just find this attractive, they find it addictive. Because in a world full of men who either abdicate responsibility or abuse power, the man who leads with quiet assurance becomes irreplaceable. His greatest strength isn't that he makes her follow, but that she wants to. The most attractive men don't chase, they attract by living from a place of genuine abundance. This isn't about pretending to have options or playing mind games. It's the natural result of building a life so fulfilling that no single person can make or break it. Women sense this abundance mindset immediately in how he doesn't cancel plans with friends for last-minute dates, how he maintains hobbies and passions outside the relationship. It's how he engages fully when present, but never seems desperate for contact when apart. His emotional independence isn't coldness, it's the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth isn't determined by any one person's attention. This abundance manifests most powerfully in his boundaries. He doesn't tolerate disrespect, flakiness, or mind games because he genuinely believes better exists. Where needy men rationalize poor treatment, maybe she's just busy. The attractive man responds with action, he simply withdraws his attention. This creates a fascinating psychological shift. Women instinctively work harder to keep a man who demonstrates heel walk away. Not as manipulation, but as natural consequence. His time and energy go to those who value it, and this selective investment makes his presence feel like a privilege rather than a given. The magic lies in authenticity. He's not pretending to be busy, he actually is. His schedule reflects priorities. Beyond dating, because his purpose doesn't revolve around female validation. Ironically, this makes him more desirable than the always available guy. Women find themselves drawn into his world rather than him begging entry into theirs. Texts may go unanswered for hours because he's immersed in meaningful work. Dates get scheduled around his commitments, not the other way around.